All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful day. We had an absolutely wild day, and we need to talk about how to know what is moving the market. I'm telling you, today was very wild. The moves, it started with a baby gap up, and then we just kept selling off all day. By the morning, by European close, people were worried because, remember, yesterday was a lower low, and by the time we opened up today, right after European close, we were below that. So at the low of the day, we were down by like 0.7 on the S&P 500. It felt a lot worse than that, and then you had this crazy pop out of nowhere, and it allowed the market to quickly go green. But a lot of people were asking, what happened? Why did this occur? Why were we down? Why did we pop up? What was the news? And we have the news every day. And if you guys are on stream, man, I don't know, we even got like a little news wire. Oh yeah, I can play with it a little bit. You see what I'm saying there? But the whole point is, today wasn't on the news. We were talking about the news vacuum or the catalyst vacuum yesterday. There really wasn't events. We even talked about how Europe played out in China. The way I would answer today, if you don't like the answer random, what I want to tell you is that this was just stress. That's all. It was the bond yields. It was the dollar. Oil went up almost 4%, but all of these factors we keep bringing up, the dollar is now continuously on a streak. The bonds, they are breaking out. We're almost at 4.75. At one point, middle of the day, I was at the rate we were going at, it looks like we were going to hit 4.75, and then it chilled out. Even right now, and this is what I'm going to talk about today, I got some cool things to show you. It's not like that changed. The bonds were one thing that didn't move today, but what did, it was the dollar. There was a lot of movement on that intraday, a lot of the other currencies, but clearly over the last couple of days, last couple of weeks, things are getting elevated. So it's causing some stress here. Does it mean you freak out? No, not yet. And I've been saying that for a while now, and the whole point is, we are still very well elevated. And now that brings up a couple of fun facts, but just remember, at one point, I think it was around June of this year, if you were at 420, 421, all the way to 425, this was an all-time or a new yearly high for you. You were getting back to where we sold off from Jackson Hole. This was very positive to get above. So we did have that crazy squeeze, took you near the highs, or the all-time highs, but it's not as if this has been totally bad. Really, the gulag is once you fall below here, and then we start getting into SVB levels, which is about 5% lower than where we're at now. Now, obviously, things can change very quickly, but the whole point is we are watching a lot of stuff. It's not as if we're going to get anything new until the next 2 weeks, so it's going to be an interesting game with seasonality, all that, and then with bonds and dollar and all these things at all these crazy levels. So Chad, it's wild. We have a lot to talk about. I can't wait to show you this video. And here's the last thing I'm going to end it with. This was that fun fact, just in the nature of everything. Here is a equal weighted, that wasn't it. This one is an equal weighted S&P 500 index. After today, this wasn't updated here. It's pretty much gone negative now. So yes, those 7 stocks are helping out everything. Why? Because equal weight S&P has now gone break even, but clearly the dollar's not at certain levels. Again, bonds, comparing it all to last year, it is all a trip. So I got something cool I'm going to show you. Drop that thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open, youtube.com/the stock market, live every day. And if you could play 2K, okay, don't let me go crazy. Run it, baby.
Working to the couch, it's the 2020 election. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Feel how I feel, then you feel it's a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
But right off the bat, before we talk about how to know what is moving the market, I want you to understand how wild this treasury move was on the 10-year today. We were freaking out middle of the day, and we're like, this thing could hit 475. Why is that a big deal? Because I was just telling you, we put 4.5 on the table after breaking above 425. So we were expecting to go up here, but if it overshoots it and does it to a lot to 475, that doesn't really happen. So let me just show you on the year so you can see what I'm saying, because usually when we hit that level, you'll like go above or below it by a little bit. Even here, you hit 425, highest you went was like 433. That's like 0.6 higher, right? And then let's go here to 4. At one point, you went up to 418 on the second time, but the first time you broke through 4 in July, it lasted for 0.03, and then you came down, and then it was like, what, end of the month, where you finally broke it, and then you got that extra 15th of a basis point. And something to note about here, this was, as we were dealing with that, are we pausing or not? That's why this does kind of resemble that 2001, 2006 thing we've talked about, but going back, every other level, 375, you go above it, you went up by like 0.6, 0.7, then you come down, then you make your move, and then eventually you'll break above it, then you'll get to that next level that's on the table. But keep going through this. May, 4%, we dropped. That's why it took so long. Even we go back here to November, 415, you never got up to 425. You actually went right below and sold off, but this is what I'm trying to show you. The only other time we had this little breakout, go to a level, and then just start repricing aggressively, it happened here at the 375, took you right to 4, but instead of stopping at 4, we went to the 425, and this is where the breakout started to get bigger. That was in October of last year. So what I'm saying is that usually it breaks one of these levels, people think about it a little bit, then it calms down and it has to work its way up. But what happened today, the whole bond curve kept getting blown out. We've been talking about this. That theme of the week is the market digesting higher for longer, and that's literally what is happening now, and you are watching this get reflected on the rates. So that's the big thing I want you to see. But then today, the other thing is how today moved with nothing, and a lot of people are asking why. So I want to give you something. Is this always going to work? No, it is not. So please do not use this as something where you're going to think it always works. You could put this in your tool belt, but it's not going to always be there for you. However, we have a good example of when it does work for you. Extreme volatility, especially like the volatility we saw last year, the dollar, oil, bonds. You have heard this before, and these are some of the bigger factors here. So what I want you to see is when volatility is high. So I've showed you this before, and sometimes once the volatility dissipates, if the market starts bouncing and everybody brushes this off in a couple of weeks, this might not apply. If the things calm down, you will not see this happen. But when you do get this volatility, what you want to be looking for is that everything matches up. So what I want you to see today is how the market moved in the dollar, because while we didn't know what was happening, and while we were here and even at the highs, I was giving out these points on stream today, and I'm sure people were curious about it, and I was just basing it off of where the dollar was at earlier in the day. There was no news. We're not expecting any data. It's not like things should be moving us. So the only real compass I had was the dollar, because it was showing some momentum. But if you look at stocks and bonds, even then by the end of today, they didn't really react. Again, bonds are kind of in their own world getting blown out. There was a correlation with the market, but that little pop, nope, you did not see that on the bond market. So why were we getting what we got from the dollar? It has been important, and there's a lot of reasons, but I just want you to see what it was telling you intraday. And why does the dollar keep doing this after hours? I don't know if this is going to look like yesterday did coming into today, but it's very simple. You can see the dollar chart and what was happening. I guess the first thing I want you to notice is that every time the dollar is at a high, you'll notice the market came down today. And then every time the dollar dropped, the market was able to chill out. Anytime the dollar was hitting a high, the market was going lower. But now, here is what I want you to watch out for. Does this mean that the dollar is making the market go down? Yes and no, but we're going to lean for no, because what I want you to see on this is just imagine when we're right here. Pretty much every time the market is already going lower, there is a high on the dollar present. So it doesn't mean the dollar's causing it, because some of the times the dollar will just already be at a high. You could see here intraday in the morning, dollar was hitting a high, the market was doing good, dollar was kind of moving around, then the market starts dumping, and then you'll notice by the time you hit a new low, dollar just gaps up to a new high. And then you hit another new low, the dollar is magically up there. Pretty much every new low, there was a high of the dollar dollar present. That was the key to it. And then as we started to drop, it correlated with, or as we started to go up, it correlated with the dollar dropping. But this is where I was like, wait a minute, is this too much? What's causing it? Obviously, we checked the news and we're not seeing anything. So that's why looking at the dollar, it was like right around here when we first started going down. You could see this is where things started going crazy a little bit. But what I was saying on stream, it was whether or not we could justify the move that we had. So at one point, we got to the same dollar level where the market was trading around like what, 12.13, 12.20-ish, right in between there. And you go over here and it was like right around where you started to bounce from. Now, obviously, the market was a little higher, and that's why I was saying, listen, with nothing going on, if I'm not going to attribute this to anything, dollar going down could support the market at this price because that's where it was at earlier in the morning when this was a high and we were freaking out. So I was saying maybe we'll close somewhere around here if that's the case, but we had the whole day, the dollar's going to fluctuate and that's going to make its moves. But pretty much you'll see here, this is the after hours. It looks crazy, but it ended up matching at the end of the day. I was saying something is going to match up, but what I want you to see here is the dollar is present with the lows, but it does not cause the lows. And if there is nothing you could see, there's a lot of fog, try to use the past levels of where the bonds were at, even the dollar, and get an idea generally. It's not like this is going to be factual in the sense where it's always going to work, but when you have nothing to look for, it's like looking at the lines in the road to make sure you don't veer off, because it's saying, okay, is something out of the ordinary? I went through the pound, the yen, all of that stuff, but you could see it present with the dollar, and if anything, if bonds aren't moving, market could go up. It's allowed to do that, but at least there's some correlation you can spot. So watch out for this, and like I'm saying, be careful to follow this as if it is your savior, because it's not always going to work like that. And even throughout today, there is going to be gaps. There's going to be divergences. And if the dollar and this didn't match up today, I would have said the same exact thing and said maybe tomorrow then either the dollar is going to have a different type of move, the bonds will rebound, and then the market will come back down. It just depends on the timing and everything else. So that's the stuff you can't predict. But on a day like today, finding out what's moving the market, I think it's just all stress from dollar and rates, and eventually we got a little bit of a clue from the dollar. We're able to calm down, but the same stress and everything else, it is still all there until that changes, aka bonds, dollar, oil starts to calm down from here. So Chad, that's all I have for you today. I do have one play, so let us get into the plays. But it's Peloton. I know, top tick Josh came back. I did so good at resisting, but I did 1,000 shares at $6. I top ticket. I put in an order at like $6.50, and it came right below. They didn't fill me, and then it dropped. So it was kind of disappointing. That's why I decided to hold, because I didn't want to make any of these trades. I've been saying that, and some of you are right about that. Indeed, that's why I've been focusing on the bonds. I even had the bonds green today. I did not sell out, and I had to pay for it, so now I'm down on that play, but still riding it out because I do think we are going to get a little bit of relief. But so far, holding quick has benefited. Holding a little extra day, it's helped a little bit, but quickly, if you're wrong on that, it's the bonds are getting blown out. So going to be riding out those plays. That's pretty much it besides anything else we've been in. Like I said, I'm going to go slow and steady with it, focusing on these factors, but it's clear things are picking up, but be mindful. Now, we got 2 more of the worst days left in this stretch. Then it's October. We don't have any catalyst. We have Powell tomorrow. It shouldn't move stuff because he's not supposed to say anything brand new, but we will find out. So, Chatadonia, I hope you're ready for it, but that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate, healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. And I need you to remember, you got unlimited potential, for real. And it's more of a shame to let that potential go to waste. That's why I would rather miss a lot of things, make a lot of mistakes, but I'm just saying potential. And I see potential in a lot of you, so tap into it, Chad. And just don't waste it, baby. You're here for a reason in this generation. So get ready. God bless you. I love all of you. I will see you on the 2K stream, and I might have another surprise for you. I don't know. We'll see. Or no.